Combate Americas MMA celebrated the first all-women's MMA show broadcast live on network television with more than 500,000 viewers on Univision at midnight recently. With those solid numbers, and thank you Combate Americas CEO Campbell McLaren, what say you about that show and about those numbers? On point, exceeded expectations, what do you say?
Well, it was 504,000 people, to be exact. So if you're going to say over 500, I figured I'd get in the other 4,000. Over 500,000, it was actually 504. So, that's a great number. Did we exceed expectations? I knew it would be good. We had a lot going for us. Kate del Castillo was, front and center at the show. We had some very exciting fighters. And I think that, Combate's growing and growing. So even though that's a spectacular rating at midnight, it did not exceed our expectations because we are expecting the world. And we seem to be getting it.
You mentioned Kate, and she's an actress, producer, entrepreneur. She got involved with Combate Americas. And she is tell me if I'm wrong or right, she's a part owner of the company?
That's very correct.
What was it that worked, that got you guys together? What brought you both together? Was it her and her people contacting you all? Was it you guys contacting her? You knew her? How did that go?
Well, it was a very direct contact. Kate came to one of our first events in Los Angeles nearly 3 years ago. And she's a huge boxing fan and had heard about our promotion, which focused on, Hispanic combat athletes. So she's a very big Canelo fan. She's liked boxing. The buzz on Combate is very real. People hear about us, and she came to check it out. And I had not met her before that, but we had a chance to really sit and talk about it. And we were growing in Mexico at the same time we were growing in the U.S. And we hit, last year we had a high point. We had 6 million viewers at 11 o'clock at night on Azteca 7 in Mexico. And I think that growth, our digital growth, and that prompted her to reconnect with us and, say, I think I can really be part of this. She is an overused expression, Jim, but she's very on brand for Combate, right? There's a great Spanish expression, which is tingon, which I guess the best translation is kind of like badass. And she's very badass. Her character on TV in La Reina del Sur, very badass. And, she's been a woman in a man's world, a woman in a man's world in Mexico. And so she's had to be tough, and I think she was very, very much taken with our women MMA fighters. And I think they're tough women in very much of a man's world. And I think that's what connected to her. So it was the buzz on Combate, and then when she saw the women fighting, I think that's what really put her over the top and wanted to have her, become an investor.
Was this your idea? Was this her idea? Was it a combination of people to have an all-women's MMA show? And is this the right time for it?
Well, certainly it was Kate's idea to be involved with this one, but this was our second one. We did one last year, and it was, I had one guy fight. So this was the first full woman's card on broadcast TV. But we did do very well last year with it. We did it in San Antonio, Texas. So we knew we wanted to recreate it. And I think doing it in LA and doing the red carpet and having Mario Lopez there and having Oscar de la Hoya there, and of course Tito Ortiz, very famous UFC and Bellator fighter that is now signed with us. We had a real red carpet sort of glammed up event. And I think that is interesting because whatever you expect out of women's MMA exceeds expectations. So I think we have this glamorous, dressed-up Hollywood event with celebs in the audience and Victoria La Mala singing TV, the difference between women fighting and men fighting. With the women fighting, they don't really, gauge each other so much. They tend to get right into it. They tend to get right to business. So it's a real crowd pleaser, and I think the ferocity, which is a good word to use for women's MMA, the ferocity of the fights often takes people aback. They're like, wow, these girls really fight. So it was a combination. Kate, very supportive. We've done one before. This was the first complete women's card on TV. So, what's the expression? Success has many fathers and failures an orphan. So maybe there was some fathers and mothers involved in this one.
Campbell, how did her joining Combate Americas also help with this historic event?
Well, certainly Kate is a magnet for press attention, publicity, and fan attention. So when you bring in someone of that stature, and that week was also the launch of her TV show, so I think she was getting the highest ratings of any show on TV, at least a few of the nights that was on. So you have a very high-profile actress that is a magnet for attention. So, of course, that's going to help with promotion. However, and I think this is very important, celebrities are often used, and the term is borrowed interest. I think what's great about Kate is, again, she so fits the persona of a fighter. She's tough, she's fearless, she stands up for herself. But I think Kate's involvement, I want to pick an extreme example. If you'd have brought in Dolly Parton, and I'm trying to think of just the most extreme example, everybody would go, what? Huh? But when we brought in Kate, everybody goes, oh yeah, I get it. Because she's tough. She's a fighter. She represents women taking charge of their own future and well-being and career. So she was very well suited to the event, and then she's a magnet for attention.
How do you think she could have been doing an MMA if she went that route when she was younger?
I'll tell you, look, Kate is in tremendous shape, and there are two components to fighting. Whether it's boxing or MMA, there's the physical component, and she looks like she's got that, and there's the mental component, because you've got to really be committed to what you're doing, and I believe she has that. So, I think that she's quite happy with the career path she chose, but I think she definitely could have had a career inside La Jaula.
Campbell, who are some of the top women on the Combate Americas roster, and did anyone stand out for you that particular night?
Well, I would say that Mely Martinez, who's known as Super Mely, who is from Mexico City, who is 6-0 in Combate, who is a tiny, what's a good word? She does not look like a fighter. She looks very feminine, very pretty, and is an absolute killer in the ring. She's known as Super Mely, and one of the announcers said she had some ring rust because she hadn't had a fight with us in, I think, about 6 or 7 months. And I had a chance to sit in on air a little later on DAZN, which is our English language broadcasting partner, and I said, Mely does not have ring rust. Mely was not sitting out. She was taking her final exams for her bachelor's degree in engineering from UNAM, which is the huge university in Mexico City. So there you have a spectacular fighter, 6-0, 21 years old, just completed her bachelor's degree in engineering. She intends to go on and get a master's degree. So she stands out. But, you just don't expect to hear that, right? So educated, smart, young, and an absolute killer in the ring. And then I think one fighter who was not able to fight for